Are you sick of thinking about what other people think all the time? Are you stuck because you're afraid of being judged, always want to be liked, and hold yourself back? The famous warrior Miyamoto Musashi lived by a code of mental strength and self-mastery that kept him from caring what other people thought. This video talks about 8 powerful ways to change your thoughts that were inspired by Musashi's teachings. These will help you get over your doubts about yourself, gain back your confidence, and live your life on your own terms. Let's zero in 1. Realize that judgment is inevitable and meaningless. Being aware that people will always have thoughts about you is one of the most important things you can learn in life. There will be people who praise you and people who attack you. But the truth is that what they say about you doesn't really say much about them. The famous samurai and tactician Miyamoto Musashi knew this very well. He lived by the principle of separation because he knew that opinions from other people change quickly and don't always mean anything. People make decisions based on their own fears, preferences, and past events. They don't see you for who you are, but as a mirror of what they believe. If you're always afraid of being judged, you're letting other people control your life. Musashi taught that a warrior should not care about what other people think of them. Instead, they should focus on their own mastery, way, and truth. Do not worry about what other people think. Instead, ask yourself, what do I think of myself? At the end of the day, what counts most is how you feel about yourself, not what other people think. You can't avoid judgment, but you can choose how to handle it. When you learn this, you break free from the mental chains that hold a lot of people back. Musashi's theory stresses that worrying about what other people think keeps you from growing as a person. He didn't want to be liked. Instead, he believed in discipline and persistence to help him become better. When you think this way, the noise of other people stops bothering you. When you know that people who judge you are not in your shoes, you learn to go your own way without fear. Musashi said, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Remember that the next time you worry about what other people think of you, pay attention to what's important, your journey, your beliefs, and your growth. There will always be judgment, but it doesn't make you who you are." Let's zero in 2. Stop giving away your power. You give up your power every time you let someone else's opinion affect the choices you make. They have power over your feelings, your security, and even your future. That being said, why should someone else's view matter more than your own? Miyamoto Musashi always felt like he could do things on his own. He didn't depend on other people to validate him. Instead, he worked on building up his own power. You take back control of your life as soon as you stop trying to please other people. You don't have to listen to everyone who talks. Musashi thought that real power comes from inside, not from money, titles, or other people's views. You can't be stopped when you live by your own rules. If you let criticism break you, you give power to people who don't earn it. If praise makes you feel good about yourself, you are still being controlled by outside forces. To get away from both is the key. Musashi was known for being focused and following rules. He wasn't affected by how other people felt because he knew that the only battle that really counts is the one inside. You need to change the way you think to stop giving away your power. Think, am I living for myself? Or am I living for the approval of others? You get stronger when your ideals and principles are more in line with what you do. In order to feel good about yourself, you need to trust yourself more than anyone else. Being self-reliant and building up our inner strength are all things that Musashi's worldview teaches us. You are in charge of your life, and only you can choose where it goes. Don't lose your power because you're afraid of being judged. Keep going down the road you chose and never look back. Let's zero in 3. Embrace the short memory mindset, having mental problems that aren't necessary and hold you back. A lot of people get stuck in cycles of overthinking where they keep going over mistakes, embarrassing times, or bad interactions from the past. However, Miyamoto Musashi, who is very disciplined and mentally strong, knew that a fighter can't be weighed down by regret or fear of being judged. Think about going into a sword fight while still remembering the last time you lost. Why short memory attitude isn't about forgetting everything. It's about letting go of things that are holding you back. If you hold on to these things, your mind will be cloudy, your reflexes will be slower, and your opponent will be ahead. Things work the same way in life. When you think about the mistakes you've made in the past too much, you miss the present moment and can't move forward. Musashi trained himself to be able to quickly change to any situation without dwelling on mistakes he had made in the past. The important thing is to stop thinking and start learning and letting go. When things don't go as planned, you should accept it, learn from it, and let go of the rest. Negative things from the past will only weigh you down. A short memory will help you stay light, quick, and ready for new challenges. How many times have you stayed up all night worrying about something small that everyone else has forgotten? Most people are too busy with their own lives to think about what you did wrong. It's not their assessment that's wrong. It's how you judge yourself. Musashi taught that to master yourself, you have to be detached, and that includes being detached from mistakes you've made in the past. You have a huge edge in life if you think like someone with a short memory. You get over problems faster, concentrate on the present, and don't have to worry about things that don't matter. Let go, move on, and remember to keep your mind on what's important. Less 0 and 4. Master the art of selective listening. Not every thought is the same. You will drown in a sea of different opinions, criticism, and demands if you pay attention to everyone around you. This was very clear to Miyamoto Musashi. He thought that a warrior had to separate wisdom from noise or filter out what was not helpful and throw it away. People all over the world have something to say. The important thing is to know who to listen to and who to avoid. A lot of people make the mistake of giving every view they hear equal weight. They let bad things said by strangers, neighbors, or even family members affect how they feel about themselves. But the truth is that most views aren't about you. They're about the person who is saying them. You will have doubts if someone else has doubts. Someone who is afraid of failing will put that fear on you. Because of this, it is important to learn how to block out opinions that aren't helpful. Musashi didn't care what other people thought who hadn't been on his road. It was experience, not idle talk, that he was looking for. If someone doesn't have experience, knowledge, or real care about what they say, then why should it matter to you? Not every criticism should hurt you. Instead, you should ask yourself, does this person live by the values I admire? Are they where I want to be? If the answer is no, don't pay attention to what they say. Selective listening is not a sign of pride. It's a way to keep your mind safe. You have to protect yourself from mental distractions in the same way that a warrior does against physical threats. Surround yourself with opinions that encourage, push, and help you grow. You can find your own way, just like Musashi did, when you stop letting other people's opinions change you. Less 0 and 5. Accept that not everyone will like you, and that's a good thing. Miyamoto Musashi, a sword master, didn't look for approval from other people. Instead, he focused on his training and getting better at the sword. He knew that if you live your life honestly, some people will like you and others will dislike you. To please everyone, though, you have to lose yourself in the process. When you change who you are all the time to fit in, you may become a watered-down version of yourself, denying your real desires and giving up on your values. People may not value you as much if you're not genuine. Focus on being respected if you want to be respected. Some people didn't like Musashi, but a lot of people respected him because he was firm in what he believed, never wavered in his ideals, and always tried to be the best without saying sorry. Realizing that not everyone will like you frees you up to focus on the people who really care about and support you. The right people will come to you on their own, and you should let go of the ones who don't. Musashi says to think deeply about the world and lightly about yourself, and not let how other people see you control your thoughts. Instead, think about your journey, your goal, and how you can grow. When you stop trying to please other people, you gain the greatest freedom, the freedom to be yourself without any shame. Less 0 and 6. Shift your focus to action, not perception. You should be doing something to make your life better, but you're worried about how other people see you. It sounds like you're stuck in a mental trap that won't let you reach your full potential. People often don't do anything because they're afraid of being judged or criticized. But the famous samurai Miyamoto Musashi didn't care what other people thought. He lived for control, action, and results. Musashi thought that a fighter doesn't waste time thinking about things that aren't important. He wasn't worried about how other people saw him. He was focused on training, improving his skills, and getting ready for war. In his well-known book, The Book of Five Rings, he wrote about how action was more important than words or worries about image. He knew that what you do is more important than what other people think of you. When you stop focusing on what you think and start focusing on what you do, your life starts to move forward. You do what you need to do to grow, learn, and get better instead of being afraid of what other people will think. Opinions are less important than results. To be successful, you need to learn how to act even when you are afraid, doubtful, or criticized. Do you spend your time making things, learning new things, and acting? Or am I stuck in my head worried about what other people will think? The people who do great things in life don't think about everything they do all the time. They just do it, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. Musashi shows us that life is a fight, and people who delay lose. Don't think too much. Don't wait for permission anymore. Do something. Less 0 in 7. See yourself as the main character, not a side role. Do you choose how to live your life? Or do you let other people decide for you? People often live their lives like secondary characters in their own story, always trying to please others, putting their needs second, and being afraid to take charge of their own lives. Great warrior Miyamoto Musashi, on the other hand, thought and behaved like a real protagonist. He did not wait for approval and did not base his actions on what other people thought. He was in charge of his whole trip and made himself into a warrior. Before you can do this, you need to know that you are the only one who can write your story. The way your life goes depends on the decisions, behaviors, and beliefs you have. You give up your part as the main character when you put other people's needs ahead of your own. You let other people like society, friends, family, and even strangers tell you what to do. But why should they? It's your life, not theirs. Self-reliance was at the heart of Musashi's worldview. He didn't look for approval or support. He was always determined to go his own way. Do nothing that is useless, he said one time. That is, don't waste your life trying to make other people happy at the expense of your own goals. When you worry about what other people think, you take time away from your own goals. Think about the most famous heroes in history, myths, and even stories. One thing they all have in common is that they decide what will happen to them. They make brave decisions, take risks, and are proud of who they are. They are not just spectators. They are fighters, leaders, and creators. You need to think the same way. Stop waiting for the right time and stopping being afraid to act. Become a main character now. It's your story, so live it without shame. Less 0 in 8. Build inner validation, not external approval. Miyamoto Musashi's teachings stress the importance of being self-reliant and having inner power. They also stress the importance of getting self-worth from within instead of getting it from outside sources. External acceptance is short-lived, and if someone's sense of self is tied to other people's approval, they may change all the time to meet their needs. Musashi knew this very well and only cared about his own development, getting better at his skill, and following his own set of morals. Building inner validation lets you decide how valuable you are based on your own deeds and values, instead of waiting for approval from other people. This idea was shown by Musashi's life, who got his strength from within and thought that his own standards were the only ones that counted. To feel more validated inside, you should know your own values and goals, make sure your actions are in line with those values, and judge your success by your own progress, not by how other people see you. Musashi shows us that real power comes from knowing and believing in ourselves. If you stop trying to get other people's approval, you can live openly and make choices that are true to who you are, without fear of being judged or scared. No one else can tell you how valuable you are. Only you can do that.